Hi guys, welcome to today's tutorial. I'm Yinky, and today I'll be showing you how to make a simple ruched dress. The idea of making this tutorial is gotten from Pinterest. Like you can see the gray color dress. That dress is gotten from Pinterest, and I used the idea to create my own cartoon color dress that you're seeing on the screen. So you can see the side. The side is not ruched, while the other side also is not ruched, but it's only the front that was ruched. So how to arrive at this, I'll be showing you in this tutorial. So if this tutorial is something you are looking for, let's go straight to the work. So what you need here is your pattern, your basic bodice pattern, and this your basic bodice is not your full scale but your half scale bodice. I have a tutorial on how to draft your half scale. It's a step-by-step tutorial. So here there's a dart on the shoulder, and I'm trying to extend it by 1 inch here on the shoulder. Just extend by 1 inch and create another armhole. Create a new armhole because there is a dart on the shoulder. When you look at the picture very well, you will see a dart on that shoulder. And after I have done that, the next thing to do is I have created the shoulder dart. So I didn't notice that my camera was off there, and I'm going to show you what I did. I measured the shoulder and I have 5 there. Then I divided into 2 and I input my dart. The dart leg is 5.5. So then I just created my dart. Make sure your dart is slanted, not straight. The dart leg I mean. And I added to my armhole curve half of an inch, which is the sewing allowance. And that is what I just did here. I hope you understand. So the next thing is to just cut out the armhole. So and also the neck circumference was notched. The neck circumference is 4 in width, and it is 3.5 in width and 4 in height. So the next thing is to place my back bodice. So I'm creating the back bodice here. The sewing allowance is just one inch. So I added 1 inch sewing allowance, the zipper allowance, that is ZA. The zipper allowance is just 1 inch. Then I use the front bodice to create the back bodice. So what I use here is just marking out all the points, the underbust, the bust, the half length, everything. Then I created. So the difference between the back is just that I have removed the shoulder dart at the back. So creating the neckline here, the width is still the same thing, but the depth is just 3/4 of an inch. So the depth is just the 3/4. The depth of the neckline is just 3/4 of an inch, but the width is the width is 3.5. So I just input all the measurements and the sewing allowance. So here, this is the front bodice. I go back to the front bodice where I'm trying to create a dart. So this side dart is just 1 inch. I came down 1 inch from the bust line, and that is what I just created here. So I'm going to fold it up. So it can be a sew-in dart or a dart. I will have input it like this, then just cut it out on my fabric. So I'll just use my paper tape to sellotape it like this, then cut it directly on my fabric. So I'm trying to cut out the back bodice here, and this is all I have. I have the sleeve and I have the half scale bodice for the back and for the front. So this is what I have for the back and for the front. So if you want a detailed tutorial of how to cut your half scale bodice, you can go to my description box and check out this tutorial. This is the sketch pattern, and this is where we really need to concentrate on. This is the sketch pattern. This is the front. I have the front here, and the sewing allowance has been added to this sketch pattern already. Sewing allowance has been added to the sketch pattern already. Your convenient sewing allowance, either 1 inch on both sides or 1.5. So here I'm trying to input 4 inches from the center front. So your sketch pattern must be on fold like this. So inputting 4, this is because my nipple to nipple is 3.5, meaning nipple to nipple is 7 inches, but when I divide it into 2, I have 3.5. So that's what I'm trying to input here. If you don't know how to arrive at this, so this is just like you are inputting a dart on your skirt. So after I have input that nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2, then I'm going to just cut it out like so. I'm going to just cut it out like so. This will be, you'll be able to match your nipple to nipple on your basic bodice here. So here you're going to undergo a slash and spread method. So here you're going to mark 2 inches until you get to the upper part. So this is a slash and spread method that you're going to use. So measure 2 inches all through. Just be marking 2 inches all through. 2 inches all through. So after you have marked the 2 inches on this side, I'll go to the other side also and mark 2 inches. So I'll rule a line with all this. So the line, you are not, there is no standard for these lines, just for you to be able to know how to slash through. So just for you to know how to slash through, the line can be this, it can be, just make sure it is straight. Make sure it is straight and accurate. That's just it. So you can't go wrong with this. So after having done that, the next thing to do is to bring the other side, the smaller side. So the smaller side will now be, I will bring the smaller side and do the same thing that I did here on the smaller side. So I'll first of all notch. You can first of all notch, or you can just create the mark on the smaller side before you start slashing. So I am trying to slash here, but I supposed to have created these lines on the smaller part before I slash. So I think that should be a mistake on my part, but don't repeat that. So when you're doing your own, first of all, mark all these lines on the smaller part before you start slashing and spreading. Though it doesn't affect, because this did not even affect my result. So I'm going to still mark the same point. That's what I'm trying to mark here. The same point that I slash, I will mark it on this smaller part, then slash also. And that is what I'm doing. But when you're slashing, be careful. Label the down part so that you will know which is the down part and which is the upper part of the skirt. So I will turn it this way because this is the down part. Then I will arrange it like so. It's always kind of difficult. Just make sure you did not slash through, but slash till you get to the extreme. This is D means the down part, so that I will not mix things together. Then you can go ahead and spread now as much as you have fabric, because if you spread it very well, you'll be able to get a better ruched skirt or a better ruched dress. So I'm going to spread it very well, and after I spread it, I'll spread the other part also. So spread it very well. Spread it very well. Do you know the beauty of this dress is that this dress is very, very good for someone that has a belly fat. It hides the belly fat. So this is kind of dress that can go for plus size clients. So after I have done that, this is what I have. This is what I have. I'll be cutting out like so. So I added like 1 inch to the side. I added 1 inch sewing allowance because of the sewing allowance that we are going to use to join the two parts together. So I added 1 inch to the side at the back here. I added 1 inch. Then I did the same thing to this part also. I added 1 inch to the side. So add the sewing allowance you're going to use to join the two together. Add it because you're using 1 inch to join the two together, apart from the sewing allowance that came with the pattern. So after I've done that, I'll just cut out like so. So I'll just cut out like so. It's better to have enough sewing allowance than not to have sewing allowance at all. So I'll just cut out like so. So this is the fabric I'm using for the tutorial. So after I have cut it out, the two will now be joined together at the front. So the two will now be joined together at the front. Remember, the ruched will not fall to the center front, but the side, the way we did it on the pattern. So I'm going to use my pin to hold it together first of all before I get to my sewing machine. So I'll just hold it together like so. So after I have held it together, I'm still going to stitch it. And I told you the sewing allowance you use to stitch this part is 1 inch, because you're still going to use it to create a channel for rope that you're going to use to ruch. So this is the basic body, the upper part, the center front. So I have held my dart, the waist dart and the shoulder dart, and this is what I have. So I'm using the facing to stitch the neckline. So this facing will make the neckline to be neat. So all this process, you're going to, I see I have tutorials that dealt with this. So let's move on to the front skirt so that the video will not be too long and boring. So for the front skirt, the sewing allowance is just 1 inch, like I told you. I will use my chalk to mark it. So while you're stitching, it's kind of a curvy nature. So you're going to follow that curve. So then just stitch the two together like so. So after I have done that, the next thing to do is to open it up to the wrong side. And that's my sewing allowance of 1 inch. I'm going to use it to create the rope channel. So you're going to fold like so and stitch in such a way that the rope that you want to pass in through this channel will be able to go through. So I'll stitch up like so. So while you're stitching, you know this part is kind of a coffee. It's kind of coffee, and you just need to be careful and go slowly. And the type of material that is very good for this type of dress is a crepe. I mean it's a crepe. You can also use a duchess like satin. Anything that stretches will do this tutorial very well. So if it's stretchy, it also must not be too light. It must have weight a little. So having done one side, I'm doing the other side. So rope will pass through two sides. So I'm going to spread it on both sides and put rope on both sides. So I have done one side to the hemline. So I will do the second side also. So the second side is what I'm trying to do here until I get to the extreme end, and after that I'll pass my rope. So here, this is the back, this is the back bodice. So this is the back bodice, and I'm trying to place my zipper here. So after I have done that, the next thing is to open up this place. Do not close it until you put your rope. So I'm using my safety pin to put my rope. So I'll pass the rope in from the down part, and when you pass the rope in from the down part, you just push it in like so. Pass the rope in like so. Then when you get to the upper part, you're going to stitch it, run a straight stitch to hold the rope. So you hold the rope in place to the upper part. So I will just pass it in, and the rope has come out on the upper part here. So I'll go ahead and just run a straight stitch to hold it. So having done that, I will do the second one also off the camera. Then I'm going to stitch both. I will stitch, after I have done it, I will stitch both, pass it through and stitch both. So having done that, the next thing to do is to just adjust the rope inside. Adjust the rope. Make sure you adjust the rope inside the skirt. Adjust it very well, and hem the down part. So the hemline is what I'm trying to hem now. So you can just do that one neatly, or you can use your hemming gum to do that one. So what I'm doing here is just to stitch with 1 inch. So after I have done that, the next thing is to bring my upper bodice and join it together with my skirt. So this is the basic bodice. So I'm trying to join it together with the skirt. So I will match it with the dart. The dart intake will be matched with the that side that was ruched, so that it will be aligned together. So after I have done that, I'm going to show you how it looks. So here I'm trying to place the back on the front. So here I'm inputting the sewing allowance. So it's just the same way you input sewing allowance on your normal dress that was not ruched. So I'll just input my measurement like so. So what I'm doing here is to join the front and back together. the front and back is being joined together with the measurement. So it's the measurement that I just put here, and after I have done that, I will do that to the other side also. So I will do that to the other side also, input the measurement and stitch neatly. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch neatly till I get to till I finish inputting the measurement. So that's the same thing I'm doing here, inputting the measurement. So I'll just go ahead and do that. And when I finish that, the next thing to do is to fix my sleeve. So actually, the purpose of this tutorial is to show you how this dress was ruched. So I'm just going to place my sleeve because I didn't show you how I cut the sleeve, but I have tutorials on how to cut a puff sleeve on this channel, so you can check that out after this tutorial. So I'm placing my sleeve here, so I'll just go ahead and place my sleeve in here and start pleating it almost from the like 2 inches away from the armpit. So I'll just start pleating it like so. So I want a full pleat, that's why I started like that. And I really did my sleeve in such a way that it is not as big as the one I saw on Pinterest. I want a smart sleeve, a sleeve that will just look like a cup sleeve, but it's still puff sleeve. So after I have done that, then this is what I have. This is the sleeve. I have fixed the sleeve. So I'll go ahead and fix the second sleeve. And at the point of making this tutorial, there was no light. And that's the issue we have in Nigeria. So I needed to just use another alternative to be able to iron the dress. So this is what I have at the end. This is the result. You can see the result is beautiful and amazing. This is the result. This is the result. Very, very beautiful. Very, very beautiful. You can see the difference is that the sides were not ruched, but it's only the front that was ruched. And that is when you use, this is possible when you use a slash and spread method. So I will see you in the next tutorial. Until then, bye.